Hello?
Hello.
Awesome. So good to talk to you. Thank you for taking time to do an interview.
Absolutely.
So to start out with, when did you start voice acting?
I started voice acting in 2000. Yeah, it was probably 2007, 2006, 2007. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. How'd you get started with that?
Okay, well, it's kind of an interesting, not really interesting story. So, I was in high school in the 90s, and so anime wasn't as big of a thing as it is now. But my best friend at the time was from Thailand, and so he had all these animes, and so he actually got me into it. And we were joking around one day in high school, and I said, I'm going to do that one day. And he's like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to be one of the voices. And he's like, okay. And years later, I was working with a photographer, and I was doing and basically kind of a creative photo session where I was the model, and he and I were talking, and he's like, you should do anime voices. And I was like, well, I don't really know how to get into it, but I've always wanted to do it. And he's like, oh, I've got a buddy. And I'm like, okay. And so I got connected to, oh, what was his name? I don't even know anymore. And I got called into an audition, and I didn't get the audition, which was completely fine. But then I started doing Walla sessions because they're like, well, can you come in and do background stuff? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. This is fun. And so it just kind of stemmed from there. And the ball started rolling, and I started getting parts and, having fun with it. And I've since kind of taken a hiatus because life is what life is. So I haven't done anything in a good 5 years, 6 years. But, I still talk to some of my friends over at now Crunchyroll. And I still will get auditions and stuff, and I just haven't submitted. But
Oh.
yeah, I got into it because I was going to prove a point.
Well, you did. Great.
I did. And I've gotten to do some really amazing anime voices. I've gotten to work with some just phenomenal people, Mike being one of them. I've known Mike for years, and he called me in for White, and I was just like, really? This is amazing. I love this character. And White's actually one of my favorite characters that I've ever voiced.
I would imagine so. It's such a great part, and
Like, she's just
everyone did a great job.
like, oh my god, that. And here's the thing, like, my favorite anime was Trigun.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, like, favorite anime of all time is Trigun. And so when I got this part, I just basically flipped, and I was like, are you serious? I'm doing this. And it was one of those dream roles, and I got to play every aspect of White, from a little kid to the narrator where she's like super stoic, to when she's just insane and she's calling herself a ghost and running around and taking pictures. And she was kind of like one of those roles where you just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to top this, because it's such a great show, and the cast was so phenomenal. And I just was like, this is what I got into this for. This is why I do this.
Now, this was a simuldub, and you were doing regular dubs because simuldubs were really new when Blood Blockade Battlefront came out. So,
Yes.
what was it like working on a simuldub versus a regular dub?
So, I mean, really honestly, I didn't notice too huge of a difference, other than the fact that you came in a lot more, and you would come in for like shorter stints. So, because White wasn't on screen that often, but when she was, it was pivotal. And so, typically you look at a season, and depending on how we're doing it, you do kind of everything at once. And so if you have kind of a smaller part, they try and get all the episodes out of the way, and you're there for maybe an hour or two, possibly more, or you're there twice. Well, this one, I was there every single week that she was there. And so it was just like a lot more time in the studio, but not really a lot more work. It was just more, I guess, sprawled out. And I really enjoyed it because I got, like, not that I didn't get to know Mike any further. I knew him really well before then, but you just get to go up there more, and you get to spend time with your friends more, and it's just, to me, it was more fun. I liked doing the simulcasts. Like, I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I've heard different things from different people across like panels and such. I know it's very stressful for the background stuff, like making the scripts and such.
Oh, yes. Yes. I knew some of the script writers during when all of that kind of started kicking off, and the stress level was high for them. I'm just going in there playing, and I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, I want to say it was J. Michael Tatum I heard talk about how stressful it was to get everything situated with the script and such.
Yeah, there were times where that I would hear stories where, like, the script was done as the voice actor was walking in. And you're like, wow. And it's not because the script writers weren't good at their jobs. They were incredible at their jobs. So they were just under this massive time constraint. And all of the script writers that I knew were so successful at it because they just knew how to do it so fast. And it just worked for them. And it was really cool to be kind of a part of that rollout.
Yeah, I remember when that started being a thing, and it was this huge new thing. It's like, wow, only the dub coming out only a couple weeks. We don't have to wait a year for a Blu-ray.
Yeah, and I'm from a generation. God, I'm dating myself. I'm from a generation that you really didn't have a lot of dubs, and so you just got used to listening to the anime in Japanese and reading subtitles or whatever, and in the few that were starting to come out that actually had an English dub, it was awesome. Like, you craved it. Because you want to hear your characters in your own tongue, and so it was cool. And then just being a part of, like, how everything changed through the industry from obviously 2000s to now, it's just really cool to see how big it's become. And it was such a niche kind of like subgenre when I was a kid that now, like, most kids that I talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I've watched this anime and this anime and this. I'm like, this is amazing. Have you seen this? And then I throw out something that's really old, and they're like, what is that?
Okay. So you said Mike just called you and said he wants you to be white?
Actually, I was called in by they just said, hey, can you come up? You're going to work with Mike on something. And I was like, okay. And, I had no assumption. I did audition for him. It wasn't like specifically for the role. I just kind of auditioned so you could hear my voice again. And then he called me and he's like, hey, I want you to do this character. And I was like, okay, cool. This is cool. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's through the whole series. And I was like, that's even cooler. But yeah, it was very much kind of a surprise to me. You didn't get that big phone call where like, hey, we're going to give you this part. I just basically walked in one day and they were like, hey, we're going to have you do some voice work with Mike. Can you come in on X day? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I walk in and Mike's like, hey, you got a role. I'm like, sweet. And getting awarded this role, especially from Mike, because I had known him for so many years, that was even bigger because I loved working with him. Mike was one of the directors that really could get the best acting out of me, because I would still get really nervous and I'd start to fumble and you get in your head and you're whatever. But Mike had this ability to just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna walk through this. And we got into a rhythm, especially on the one episode, like, she talks the entire time. And it was so cool just working with Mike, and we'd go back and forth and he'd go, hey, try it this way. And I'd go, okay, I'm going to try it this way. And he'd go, oh, I like that. Or let's try it that. And we just worked really well together. And I just absolutely loved working with him.
That is awesome. I love hearing stories about people working with Mike.
He was just wonderful. Yeah.
From what I understand, he's something of a perfectionist.
Very much so.
Yeah. That's the impression I always got.
Yeah, Mike just had a different way of directing his actors. And, he was one of those that anytime that people would call and say, hey, we want you to work with Mike, I would absolutely jump at it. Like, I don't care what it is. I don't care if I'm in the background screaming things. Like, I don't care. Just let me work with Mike because I just loved working with him. And like I said, he just brought the best out in the actors that he worked with, including me.
Excellent. It's excellent info. So I was going to ask what other characters you auditioned for, but you didn't really do a specific audition. So
I didn't.
yeah.
I didn't really, and a lot of the auditions that I've personally been on, you audition for a role, but it's really more they just need to hear your voice and your acting ability, and then they go, okay, you would actually fit here or you would actually fit there. And so I'm sure I read something and I don't even remember what it was. I'm sure it was just something innocuous, or a character A from something else or whatever, because again, this was dub, so there was no sides. You didn't go, okay, I'm going to read 4, because it kind of rolled out. And so it was definitely just a, hey, you're going to have this part. And I went, yay.
In the Japanese version, Black and White are played by the same actress, and the dub had the decision. Not that it's a bad decision. I love both of your performances. Micah did a great job. They're played by different actors. Do you know if there are any plans to have them be the same voice, or to always from the beginning have them be played by different people?
I don't know that. Mike tended to make his decisions very specifically. And for whatever reason, he decided to have those characters sound different and yet similar at the same time. I'm not saying that I sounded like Black. I'm saying like we obviously sounded like brother and sister. And I think that was just a specific decision that he made, and maybe it was more for the American audience. I don't know, or maybe he just wanted to have that difference because White was a pivotal character, but Black was such a pivotal character that, having that difference in tonality, it just basically separated those characters out a little bit more. And with White's slight jealousy of Black, that storyline can be felt a little bit better, in my opinion, to have that separation, because they don't sound alike, but it's still, they're twins.
Right.
So I don't know. It could have been just Mike's decision. It could have been many things. I was not a fly on the wall in that decision making time zone.
Now, as for the finale, that was not on Funimation's side. That was because it had to wait till autumn to air the final episode, because it was 45 minutes long.
And I was so excited. I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's actually really cool to be a voice actress in a show that you really love, because I was on the side with y'all just as much as behind the microphone, because I was like, come on, I want to see it, I want to see it, I want to see it.
I remember the wait.
Yes, the wait was excruciating.
Yeah. It was about 6 weeks until the dub version of that came out. Do you remember when you recorded the finale? I know White doesn't have a ton of lines in that, but
it would have been a little bit pre-fall. So it would have been probably like September, because I think I was one of the first ones that wrapped. Because I think like I came in and finished my stuff pretty early, and then I still had to wait for everybody else to be able to finish their stuff, and then it had to come out. But it was early. Like, I'm pretty sure I was one of the first few that wrapped.
That reminds me. Were you usually one of the first people to record? Because I know sometimes actors will go in and somebody else will have recorded and they'll get to hear their dialogue. Was that the case for White?
Every once in a while, I got to come in after Aaron and kind of play off his Leo instead of just nothing, which was so much fun. Because Aaron's such a cool dude, and he's just so much fun to kind of like be around and be friends with. And then acting with him, you're in a booth and you're by yourself most of the time. You're not with other people, so you're not with all your other actors, so you don't really get to play off of them. But every once in a while, I would come in and do something and Aaron had already laid his track down. And so I got to play off that, which was really cool. Or there were definitely other times where I was laying down my track first because it was all scheduling.
I know this happens with some other simuldubs. Were you called back in to re-record any lines for the home video release, or was
Yes.
what? Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. I think I was called back in once. I think we had to redo one line because I actually got a little excited because I read it and I was like, "Oh, I'm coming back in for what?" Well, no, it was just a redo. Um, because she kind of like she gets hinted at in season 2, but you know, they just pulled the stuff from season 1 if she said anything. So I got really excited, but yeah, it was a single line. It wasn't even I think I was there for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know in season 2 she has like a singular line near the end. I just finished rewatching it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So to get more into voicing White, what were some of the challenges of voicing that character?
Really, her being kind of all over the place. Typically you pick a voice and that's the voice of that character. Well, when it came to White, I had to play the younger version of her, and then I had to play her, and then I'm also having to voice the narration. And the hardest day for me when we did White was when I had to do all 3 of those in the same day. And that's just because it's for me it just takes a little bit to kind of like change out of that. But she also had some really emotional scenes, and you got to tap into that. And she never like out and out cries, and so you kind of have to keep it under wraps, and you have to like pull it in. And she's talking about her childhood, and her parents have psychic powers, and her brother has these amazing psychic powers, and then she's kind of like lonely over here. And it was a lonely character to convey at times, and that can be a little difficult, but it also can be really fun to really show your emotional range. That and that character at such depth. It wasn't just a hi, how are you? It was very much all over the place, and she was such a deep character and had such a cool storyline with Leo. And I hate that the ending was what it was, but it was so poignant that it just like I cried honestly when I watched the finale and I watched what happened to White. And it was like this bittersweet moment because I got to be a part of that. And that was really cool. I can't say that anything was overtly hard. It was just it I guess it was what is the word? A fun deep dive into a character that I just fell in love with.
Wonderful. And what were some of the highlights of voicing White? When you get away from the more depressing things.
Honestly, when she was being crazy, it was so much fun to let loose. The I'm a ghost line, I remember laughing hysterically at that, being like, what is she talking about? And then when she's I you may know this, but the episode, and I never know episode numbers, so don't judge me, but the episode where she's laying on the bed and she's talking to Black and Leo walks in and she's behind him and she's being all crazy and she's like mouthing stuff, but you can kind of hear her. Like that stuff was so much fun to do because you get to kind of tap into that childish side because she was so weird and I loved it. I loved it.
I could pull up my notes. I was watching it and taking meticulous notes. That's how I do these videos. I will watch the show and just note down timestamps. Like I can use this in the video. This part's interesting.
I love it.
Every video has its own unique challenges. This one is how do I talk about my favorite dub of all time, which is this one. Because usually I'm like, okay, this part could have been better, this part could have been better. Where here I'm like, I didn't really have that. It was just like everything was so solid.
It was a solid cast. It was a solid anime. It is definitely a sleeper anime. Like, I know a lot of people are like, they've never heard of it, and then as soon as they watch it, they're like, oh my god. I'm like, I don't know why you haven't seen this. It's an incredible anime. And you contacting me, asking me to do this, made me go back, and I'm like, I kind of want to watch it again. And I did, and I'm like, I remember how good this anime
Oh.
was.
Well, I'm glad I got you to rewatch it.
Like, it was awesome. I was like, oh, and I remember, the voice acting and just everything was so spot on, and the storylines and the action, and it was all awesome.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now with a friend group who is loving it so far. Last episode we watched was episode 6 with Leo and Nedge.
Yes.
Oh my god, I cry every time.
Oh my gosh. It was just like, when you contacted me, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go down memory lane." And I started watching it. I was like, "Oh, I love this. This is just one of those animes that got me into anime to begin with. Like, this type of anime is what I fell in love with when I was a kid, obviously with Trigun."
Yeah, I know people love Trigun.
How
And
can you not?
yeah, it's great. As for my audience, I announced I was doing this episode, and so many people were like, I've never heard of this in my life. And then they'll watch the ending theme. It's like, oh, this one. Because the ending theme got so popular.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, you might laugh at this. I downloaded that ending song and I would jam out in my car.
That's fair. That's valid.
Like, how can you not? It's such a great song.
Yeah.
And to the point where I think I started like not actually understanding the Japanese, but I would start being able to like at least sing along.
It's a fantastic song, but yeah, that's like other people when I announced it were like, "Oh yeah, I know this for the ending theme."
Yes.
I'm sitting here like,
it's
yeah,
the best.
yeah, it's
And the
phenomenal.
animation of the ending is spot on. It's so much fun. I remember actually, it started playing. One episode started playing, and they just kind of like me and Mike were talking, and so the ending started going, and Mike and I started like kind of dancing in the studio.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like, how can you not? Like, you just start dancing.
That's amazing. So it sounds like you definitely watched the show in full. Did you watch season 2?
I never got to watch season 2, and actually, I started watching season 1 because I was trying to like, oh, hey, let's watch this because I haven't watched it in forever, and so I'm actually now set to watch season 2.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's good. There's no big plot like there was in season 1, but there is a wrap up at the end, which is
No, I've
really
heard
good.
it's more singular episodes and less like fully like here's your season.
Right. Because a lot of the other cast members of Libra didn't really get a highlight episode. So, like, there's a KK episode in season 2, there's a Steven episode in season 2. Like, it's great to see those characters on screen more, and hear the cast get to do more with those characters.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait to watch season 2 and really kind of see each character be played out. Because yeah, I mean, season 1 was great and the storyline's phenomenal, but a lot of the characters were here's your one off and here's like a little tidbit and nobody ever gets to deep dive into them. So hearing that some of those characters actually get their own almost episode, that's really cool.
Yeah. Also, the script had for the dub had a lot more swearing in it. I wrote down every time they say shit, and it was over 30. There is an F-bomb also.
Hey.
It took everyone off guard, but the line read was really good. And it was J. Michael Tatum. So.
Oh, well then of course it's really good.
Now, if you're privy to this information, how did this show do as far as popularity and sales with Funimation, now Crunchyroll?
I don't know the sales side of it. I know that, like I said earlier, it really is a sleeper anime. there was like this subsect that got really into it, but from what I heard, because I went to conventions and stuff, there was definitely a subsect that would know and just be obsessed with it, and then the rest of everybody else never even heard about it. And it just kind of, I'm not going to say that it fell by the wayside, but it didn't get the traction that I expected, especially for how great the show was. And it's no one's fault. It just kind of happens.
Right.
You can make the most amazing piece of art, and if no one sees it, then no one sees it. But I do know that, going back and rewatching it and then looking on YouTube and looking on TikTok and Instagram and all the other social outlets, it's gaining a little bit of traction right now, which is interesting. It started gaining traction in 2023 and it's slowly building again. And so I don't know if maybe more people are finding it or what's going on, because more people are talking about it, and it's kind of just, it's becoming one of those cult classic type animes, which is awesome. Like, let's do that. Let's the more people that watch it, the more people get to see what a great storyline it was, the great characters, the great voice acting. There's nothing that I can look at and go, oh, I kind of wish they had done that, or that was a little meh, because some animes aren't amazing and some animes are wonderful, and to each their own. But I don't know what happened in 2015 with the first season. I was never privy to any of that on the actual like back end side. I just know what I know from conventions and whatnot.
Right. From what I found, a big part of it was the season was so stacked with shows. Like that same season was Assassination Classroom and Food Wars and so many other shows that took the spotlight.
Sure. And rightfully so. Those are great animes.
Yeah.
But when you're stacked up against an amazing deck, something's gonna fall. And it was it was this one. It was Blood Blockade. But like I said, it's interesting going back and watching it again and looking on YouTube. More people are talking about it, and it's you reaching out and wanting to do this podcast. I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is awesome. It's been like 10 years. What's happening?
Yeah, I decided on doing this topic when I heard Mike had a GoFundMe. I'm like, let's do something for Mike. And
Heck yeah.
Yeah, first 28 days of AdRev, I'll put on his GoFundMe, because as I've expressed, Mike is probably my favorite ADR director ever in anime, the anime world.
Yeah.
Because I loved One Piece, Full Metal Alchemist, both of them. I've heard some of the Attack on Titan dub, and it is very good.
Yeah. Hey, this will be fun. I got to play one of the people that got picked up and slammed against a wall. And I walked in, I did that, laughed hysterically. Mike was like, all right, you're done. And I walked out.
That's amazing.
That's where I do voice work, because it's just bizarre and fun. And, you get to meet really cool people. And I got to know Mike in the studio, but also out of the studio. We'd hang out. And he's just a really great guy. He is what he shows you. There's no facade, there's no fakeness to him. He's just a great guy. And he was so much fun to work with. And I've worked with some amazing directors, and I mean amazing. I've worked with Caitlin. I've just worked with so many, but Mike always stood out to me anytime that I was called in to work with Mike. And even again, if it was, you're going to play this character, you're going to get slammed against the wall, and that was going to be the end of it, I would look forward to it. And I would look forward to going in and working with him.
That is wonderful. I had something else. Yeah, in Japan, Blood Blockade did really, 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 really well. Like, I don't know what it was exactly that made it really take off there. I think it was partially the stacked voice cast on the Japanese side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, both casts are incredible.
And both casts, like, because of course when you get a role, you go in and you start researching, and I would listen to what is her name, and you will know this.
Yep, Rie Kukimiya.
Thank you. I would go in and I would listen to her because I wanted, not that I wanted to voice match her, but I also wanted to, you want to do right by the Japanese, the original. You want to do right by that. And so I would go in and I would listen to her and other things, and I'm like, okay, this is how she talks, this is how she does anything. And again, I didn't want to be exactly like her, but I also wanted to make sure that I was doing the best that I possibly could on the English side to keep pushing that forward, just to, because the Japanese side was so stacked and it was so amazing. Like I've watched the show without the dubs. You kind of have to. You're like, I want to hear it both ways.
Yeah, I'm just amazed this show didn't do better because it has all the workings of what should be a big hit in the West. You have the author of Trigun, the character designer of Cowboy Bebop. It's Bones that's animating it. The dub staff is recognizable from like One Piece and Full Metal Alchemist and all that. And yeah, it just slipped under the radar, and I don't know what happened. I am wondering if I could find out.
Sure. And and the more people that talk about it, the more people that like you that want to do videos on it, it's just going to get in front of more people. And I know that it's been 10 years, but who cares?
Right.
I still watch Vampire Hunter D. I still watch Trigun. I still go back and watch all my favorites. Why not? It doesn't matter. It's been 10 years. Who cares? Go back and watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I do that with a lot of what I cover is really old because my rule of thumb is something has to be 7 years old for me to cover it, or else it's like not as interesting.
Sure.
It just has a lot of intrigue behind it if it's that old. Like I haven't covered Demon Slayer because it's kind of ongoing, and also it's kind of recent. Also, Spy Family is another one.
Sure.
There's interesting aspects to it. Because there is a separate dub that was made in Southeast Asia. It's the first time Alex Organ has big time come back for an anime dub, and he did a great job. Things like that. But I'm like, the show is still running, and there's still a lot more to talk about as it goes on. So, but that's my decision making process. So I love watching older stuff. That's great. You're an anime fan, but you're in that age range where you would be. Because I know a lot of actors came in from an acting background and kind of stumbled into voice acting.
Yes. No, I told myself in high school, actually I told my best friend in high school, I was going to voice at least one anime in my life. I was going to do it. And I did it for 10 years-ish, 15 years.
So to get back to Blood Blockade Battlefront, how did White, if at all, affect the rest of your voiceover career?
To me, she kind of helped round me out. A lot of the stuff that I had done before that was the bouncy character, the high pitched, your typical anime.
Right.
And I was able to kind of show a lot more of my range, where there's an entire episode that she talks, and it's all over the place. And so in my opinion, I believe that it helped just kind of like prove everything that I could do. And I got to work with some new directors after that because Mike was like, yeah, dude, here, go talk to Megan. Okay, cool. and I think it just showed a little bit more of what I could do. And that was really cool. And it also just kind of showed me what I could do. It wasn't just, if you look at my resume, I've done, a little bit here and there, but White was that character that I got to really kind of fall into and give it my all. And with Mike as the director and then pushing me to give that perfection that he always looks for, it helped kind of grow me even further as a voice actor. And I got a little bit more comfortable, and I just got to be everything that I knew that I could be. And it helped kind of shape a little bit more of those cobwebs out. And because there's, as an actor, there's always that one role where you get to throw everything into it, and that just, it makes you, I wouldn't say better, I mean, I don't, better or worse, it just makes you feel like you're better. It gives you more confidence to go out and get another role. Um and White was that for me. She really was. She was, I mean, and I went to conventions for a couple years after that, and anytime that anybody asked me, okay, what's the one role that you love so much? White. You know, there are other roles that I had fun doing and whatever, but White's always the one that I go back to. And that's where it's, you know, you'd have someone ask you that and they'd go, I have never heard of that anime. And then you'd have other and go, oh my God, you're White. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Haha. Yes. You know that anime. You know how good that anime is. So
That's I met Aaron at a con back in 2020 before lockdowns happened. I know him for Alphonse. We all know him for Alphonse. But
sure.
I brought up Leo because that's one of my favorite roles of his. And he says for as many people that bring up that show, he had to that point never seen a cosplay of it.
No, I have never seen a cosplay of it.
Which is
Ever.
funny because I did cosplay Leo once upon a time back in 2016 when the anime was still
Did you really?
brand new. Yeah. And 6 people, I counted, 6 people recognized it. But it was quality over quantity. I was with someone who was cosplaying from Bleach. And that was obviously way more recognized. But like the 6
Sure.
people that recognized me, I made friends with one of them. Because he pulled me aside and started talking about the anime and how much he loved it.
Oh my God.
And
I just love hearing that somebody cosplayed from it. Like, that's fantastic. Because it's such a cool, I mean, Leo is such a cool character. Actually, a lot of them are really cool characters. You know, and could be really cool cosplays, too.
for sure.
Honestly, White would probably be the most comfortable.
Probably.
She just runs around in a hospital gown.
Yeah. In my time going to cons, I have seen, not counting myself, 2 other cosplayers from the series. I once saw a Chain, and I once saw a Leo dressed in the outfit he wears in the ending theme.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had a Sonic monkey on his shoulder. The little plush.
Aw.
'Cause
I love that.
for me, it was just regular Leo. I found a shirt that looked like it. I put together a collar like what he has, and I kept Sonic in there.
Oh, I love that.
It was.
I love that. Actually, the first time this might make you laugh. So the first time I ever met Aaron, because you don't see faces, you know them by their voice, and he walked in, and Aaron is incredibly tall.
He is.
He's incredibly tall, and I am incredibly short. And it was like, I just kind of looked up and went, oh, hi. Oh, God, you're tall. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect you to be that tall.
I thought the same thing, and I saw him again last year at a con in Indiana. I went there with one of my best friends who is all about this stuff, just like I am. Him probably even more so, because he blew like $1,000 on autographs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he is really tall. My friend is really, really tall. Aaron is taller than he is.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm 5 foot nothing on a good day without shoes. Maybe I'm 4'11".
Oh my
so
gosh.
Aaron walking in and me just kind of looking up, I'm like, this hurts my neck. Can you just sit down in front of me or something? But Aaron is a cool dude. Aaron is really, really nice. He's one of those that what you get is what you see and is who he is. He does not put on a facade. He's just an all around cool guy.
That's the impression I got, and that's what other people have said.
Yeah. He really is. You can just sit there and have a conversation with him. You're not talking to a guy who's literally been in anime since he was a child.
Yeah.
And it was really cool for me to go back and watch watch the animes that I watched as, a teenager and hear him as a kid and be like, "Oh my god, I'm working with that dude." Like, and that was just really cool for me.
Yeah, for sure. I saw you went to SakuraCon 2016, and there were two panels about Blood Blockade Battlefront. One was with the animation director and character designer. One was with the voice cast and the director. Can you tell me about that?
No, and you want to know why? So, I was asked to go to SakuraCon, which, by the way, is probably one of the best conventions I've ever gone to. SakuraCon was like the staff is phenomenal, and here's why the staff is phenomenal. I'm actually still friends with one of the girls that I met there who was on staff.
Really?
Me and Natalie Hoover.
Oh,
we got asked to come to SakuraCon together, and I was going to be on the Blood Blockade panel. I was so excited. Oh my god, I could not wait. Like, this was going to be amazing. I was going to talk about the anime that I not only got to be a part of, but I loved. And Natalie and I started feeling kind of crappy.
Oh no!
The day before the panel, and Natalie and I went down with probably the worst flu that I've ever had, to the point that they had to get me on a plane at 2:00 in the morning and get me back to Texas so I could go to the hospital.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And I felt terrible because I wanted to be there so badly. And that's the whole reason that convention asked me to be there, was to be on that panel.
Really?
And we got so sick that I actually still have a Star Wars blanket that Joy, who I met at SakuraCon, she was part of the staff. I still have the blanket she gave me to take onto the plane because I was so sick. It sucked. It sucked really bad. And it's the only Blood Blockade panel I've ever been asked to be on. Oh. And I never got asked to be on another one because no one really knew about the anime, and it didn't do as well as, it probably should have. And I'm like, but I could have. Oh man.
Did you at least get to meet Rie Matsumoto, who was the director?
No.
Oh, nope. That double sucks. Oh.
Nope. I didn't, because, you have all these plans that you're going to go to these panels, and then you're also going to be a part of these panels. And I used to always, at any convention, I would do a Doctor Who panel.
Oh.
And it really wasn't a panel. It was more we're going to get all of the Doctor Who geeks together, and we're going to talk about Doctor Who because it's amazing. I didn't even get to do that. Like, I didn't get to do half of anything that I wanted to do. We got so sick. I think I was there for a day and a half, and they're like, we need to get you back to Texas.
Oh, I am so sorry to hear that. I'm just shocked someone bothered to put together a Blood Blockade Battlefront panel.
And it was so cool. I'm trying to remember everybody that was on it.
I saw Aaron was there.
Yep. It was Aaron, it was Ian. I feel like J. Michael was there, but again, like, I was so sick. I don't remember. And it just, I wanted to be there so badly. I was so excited to be there and talk about that anime and just talk about Light, and yeah, I didn't get to do it.
Oh. God.
That's all right.
Yeah, well, I found that this past couple of weeks when I was doing my outline, and I thought that was so cool that there was a panel about it. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe someone else. I've contacted 17 parties about this show across the dub, the soundtrack, and the manga team.
Oh, wow.
You were one of 3 people to respond, because you saw I interviewed Shira Carmel, who was a sweetheart. I loved her.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she sang It's Magic on the soundtrack, the song in Hebrew. And the guy who sang, sang the Land of Nod, the song that plays when Klaus is in the ring kicking ass. He said he didn't have much to say about it because it was a gig, had to go in for a couple sessions, and that was it. Had no contact with the Japanese side, no attachment to the project, just, it was a gig. It is what it is. People want to talk, they want to talk, or get my
Sure.
message. No one's outright declined me other than him because he didn't have anything to say. But yeah, it's just like I really like this anime. I think it's really cool. I like that Taisei Iwasaki, who did the soundtrack, got English speakers to do the insert songs. I thought that was awesome. Is what it is. I do have a lot of great info. Now, if someone was on the fence about watching this show, how would you sell it?
Honestly, I would rip a description from a TikToker that I saw, and honestly, I cannot remember his name. But if you like Trigun, if you like Cowboy Bebop, this is the anime for you, because not only is it the Trigun vibe, but you've got amazing action, and it's it's basically Cowboy Bebop with monsters.
Yeah.
If you like anime, you're gonna like this. If you like Trigun, you're gonna like this. If you like the old school, amazing, full talent anime, this is the one for you.
Now I did post on the Blood Blockade Battlefront fan server, and they've all been kind of excited. I've been talking to people from the show.
That's awesome.
They had a few questions. I didn't get a whole lot, but some of them we went over. But have you read the manga?
I haven't. I know, like, when I got the role, I went and actually tried to find the manga, and white and black aren't in it. And so I just kind of moved aside and focused in on the anime to kind of get what I needed from that. Then I never went back and I never read the manga. To be honest, I've never read a manga in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a visual person, so it's like I want to see it moving in front of me. And that's just me. I was never a comic book kid. I was never a manga kid. I know people who are, and to be honest, I've seen them, and the manga artists are incredible. Like, oh my god, I've seen some mangas that I'm like, this is art. This isn't just a book. This is art. So, but no, I've never read it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite character other than White?
That's a hard one. I loved Klaus. I loved Klaus. But honestly, when doing the voice, I loved Micah as Black. Black was one of those characters that you loved watching him be kind of mischievous and kind of, you didn't really know where he was coming from, and I loved that part of it. But if we go back and we talk about like the main cast, I would have to say Klaus is my dude.
That's fair. It's really not a wrong answer. I think they're all great.
Oh no, they're all great.
Yeah.
They're all fantastic. And I really honestly, I can't wait to watch the second season to be able to kind of get to know the other characters even more. And I bet you anything, if you talk to me after I see the second season, I bet you anything that changes. I bet you anything my answer changes.
I bet it will too, and there's one episode I have in mind. But I won't spoil it. Okay. I will say the voice actor that is behind the character that was the central point of that episode, very much related to the experience, according to the Blu-ray commentary track. The Blu-ray is very expensive, by the way, for season 2 because it is out of print.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, season 1 I think it's still available for pretty cheap, but season 2 I paid $100, but it's worth it for the video. If you had the chance to voice a different character in the show, who would you choose?
Sonic.
That's valid. That's a fun one.
I mean, yeah, probably Sonic. Just because that stuff is fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Animal noises.
Like, I know that you're like, really? You would...
It's fun!
No, it's Sonic.
Yeah, it's fun. Actually, shoot, that jogged my memory. There was a big oversight with the dub for season 1. The next episode preview for, I think, episode 11 in Japanese was a heartfelt dialogue between Black and White.
Yeah.
For whatever reason in the dub, it's Sonic making monkey noises.
I bet you anything. I bet you anything. What happened is because they were simuldubbed, we hadn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. That's because all of a sudden I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I hear Sonic, this emotional music and all that, and I hear Sonic, and I'm like, is this what it is in Japanese? And I switched it over, and no, it's
no.
I don't know. It's usually something that's fixed with the Blu-ray, and it just wasn't. But that's the one flaw I found with the dub that I'm like, oops.
Oops. That's not right. Yeah.
And I was going to mention with Klaus, too, is that I really liked Phil Parsons in that role. That's very, from my experience listening to Phil, that's unusual from what he usually does.
And this harkens back to what a great director Mike was, whatever. Mike would listen to people and hear things that other people couldn't hear. And so he would put people into parts like me, him giving me White. He heard me being able to really give it my all. But, you talking about Phil, yeah, he did a phenomenal job as Klaus too. But yeah, it was not what he was normally known for or whatever, but he did such a phenomenal job that just throws back to Mike. Mike just could hear voices, and in the best way. He could hear things that a lot of people just didn't hear. Like, he could hear you doing something that you haven't even done yet. And that was why Mike was so great, is because he could hear you doing it before you could hear you doing it.
Right. I agree, because I've heard similar stories. Like, I want to say it was Colin Clinkenbeard when One Piece was switching hands from 4Kids to Funimation. Mike was really pushing for Colleen to play Luffy, and she hadn't really done a voice like that. She was still relatively new, and here she is almost 20 years later still voicing this character.
Yeah, and that's just something that Mike could do. And that was, I voice Kitten and Ishili in One Piece, and both of those are two very different characters, but it's awesome because I can look back at One Piece now and be like, I was in a couple episodes of One Piece, the biggest anime of all. It all goes back to Mike.
Yeah, One Piece. I was going to ask you what it was like to be on One Piece, because I don't think I've heard anyone have a bad experience being on One Piece.
You can't have a bad experience. Like, it's One Piece. It's not only just, like, iconic, but it's also just fun. I mean, literally, I played a character that pushes a guy's face into her breast, and his nose explodes. Like, what? And I love it. It's just, One Piece is one of those that, even if you don't like anime, you've got to give props to what One Piece has done for the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? It's like 5,000 episodes at this point, 9,000? I don't know. It's going to hit 1 million at some point. I think it's broken world records. I mean, it's made household names out of voice actors and given them careers, which is so phenomenal. I mean, it just is. And it's so much fun. I've watched episodes. I have not watched the whole thing. Oh my God. But I've watched episodes, and it's silly, and it's fun, and it's ridiculous, and it is pure anime gold.
Yeah, and I got hooked right away. Some people, it takes a while, but for me, I was like, episode 2, I was trying to get into anime, and I was trying Dragon Ball and things like that, and I'm like, it's not really clicking, and I saw One Piece, because 3 people I know that didn't know each other all recommended it. And I started watching, and I was blown away. I was intimidated by the 500 episode count by that point, but my friend's like, dude, trust me, keep going.
Dude, just get into it, and all of a sudden your 500 episodes are now thousands upon thousands, and it's never ending, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, you just get hooked on all the mysteries and such. And I ended up back then catching up with the dub, because it was paused for a while and I had to switch to, oh dear, fan subs because the episodes weren't officially licensed yet. I had no choice.
I've heard some fan subs that actually I was like, well, that's not too bad. That's actually pretty good. And of not of One Piece, but like of other animes, I'm like, hey, this person should probably have a career. Like, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
And then other fan dubs, I'm like, ooh, you had fun. I love that. You do that. You had fun doing that. And that's what matters.
Right. Yeah, the fan subs I watched were kind of janky. There was a moment where a character was dropping F-bombs like crazy, and it really took me out of it. It was kind of funny, though. But I'm getting sidetracked. Just wanted to throw out there, I'm a big fan of One Piece, and everyone that's talked about it has said how much fun it was. Mike knocked it out of the park. Mike was really instrumental in One Piece being what it is in dub form.
Yeah.
Yeah. One Piece wasn't that big in America for like a long time, and then COVID hit.
For a very long time.
COVID hit, and all of a sudden, everyone's watching One Piece. Everyone's talking about One Piece.
Yeah, and because I mean, lockdown did a lot of things for anime as a whole because people couldn't go anywhere, and they found these things to watch, and it exploded a lot of things, and One Piece is just like that. You know, only if they had found Blood Blockade.
Right?
They would have loved it. They would have loved it.
Okay. And gonna have some wrap-up questions here. What are you up to now, if you're okay to answering that?
Oh, sure. I kind of stepped away from voice acting for a little while just because life. And I worked for a little while, for a long time, in broadcast television. I was the director of operations for a broadcast television network.
Really?
And I just basically went behind the scenes, and I loved it. That was probably more fun than even being a voice actor, because I had what I call my puzzles, and I would put things together and budgets and whatnot, and it's like really, really tiresome to everybody else. I'm like, yay! But yeah, I kind of stepped away, and I still will occasionally hear from Crunchyroll asking me to audition, but it just hasn't been in the cards for me to even audition. I had to go back and actually reprise a role for One Piece, of all things. I had to go back and reprise Kitten, and I am kind of considering dipping my toe back into it because I do miss it a lot. But that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is I'm just kind of laying low. I'm with my husband and our cat menagerie. We have 4 cats, and then we also foster. So I've got a bunch of cats that I'm trying to find homes for, and I love them, and they're wonderful, and that's what I do.
Very cool. So anything you want to say to the viewers out there?
Watch this over and over and over again. Tell your friends. This is an amazing anime.
Yeah, I'm continuing my watch through with a friend group on Thursday. We watch every Thursday. We watch 3 episodes at a time. And
that's fantastic.
Yes, it's got to be at least 7 people. They're all really enjoying the show so far. The music, the voice acting, the visuals, all that stuff. Anything you want to advertise, like social media, something coming up that you're working on? I know you don't really do anime, but if there's anything else.
Well, I'm working with a friend of mine, Anthony Brownrigg. He and I are putting together an AI band, which is hilarious to me, because I sing, and it's Two Penny Dreams, and that project should probably be out, I would say, within the next 6 months. And it's just going to start off, really honestly, as a cartoon, an AI cartoon that we sing, and it's ridiculous, and we're having stupid fun putting it together, and it's getting me back into that creative zone. So yeah, the band, quote unquote, will be called Two Penny Dreams.
Okay.
Well, the music will be us, but and he's writing all the songs, but what you see will be AI.
Okay.
Like me as an AI character. So but that's really all I'm working on right now, and I might go back into anime. I don't know. We'll see. But in all honesty, like I love the audience that I have. I love the fans that I have. And I love what I've done. I've loved everyone I've worked with at Crunchyroll, aka formerly known as Funimation. And yeah, like I don't have a a sore bone to pick with anybody. It's just fun.
Good.
It's just fun.
Good to hear.
So
No, honestly, I'm happy to hear that. Hopefully you do wind up in another show, but we'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, Megan, thank you so much for agreeing to do this and spending an hour and 20 minutes chatting.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Have a good evening. Let me know what you think of season 2.
I will. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.